you ever asked yourself, am I hearing from God? God, was that you? Wait, how do I know if I'm actually hearing from God? If you've ever asked yourselves any of these questions, then this video is for you. Keep on watching. Now what is this on? Am I on 3, 4? I don't know. One of the numbers. I think we're on the third way, how you can hear God's voice. So you can hear God's voice through, as some people will call them, this was a coincidence or circumstances or things that just keep happening over and over and over and over and over and over again. If you're a believer, I don't believe in like coincidences. I know that it's God moving, that he's making the way, making things possible, showing me signs, things like that. And so a lot of times, if you are recognizing that you just keep on falling into the same situation, or you keep on hearing the same thing, like, hey, you need to stop doing XYZ, or you need to pay more attention to this. And then you hear it from one person, and then you hear it from another person, and then from another person. And it's like, okay, God is continuing to speak to you and giving you this through certain situations, certain circumstances. I will take my career, for example. So I started off in the recruiting space. I still am in recruiting now. It just looks a little different. I'll have to do a whole video on that of like trusting God with your career and all that stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below so I know that you're interested in something like that and I can share a little bit more on that testimony. Real quick, for the sake of this video, I had just been going through the same type and witnessing and experiencing the same type of management, the same types of bosses, the same types of just like situations where I'm like, why does this keep on happening? Why do I keep getting myself in these types of situations? I don't understand it. And it's because God kept speaking to me. He kept on trying to tell me, this isn't where you're supposed to be. You are not supposed to be in a space where other people are the boss of you, right? You are supposed to be in a space where you are the boss of yourself. You have autonomy over your own business, over your own schedule, over your own things that you do. That was the message that he had been speaking to me years and years and years ago, but I ignored it and I just kept on going into a different angle, going in a different spot until now I am doing recruiting, but I 100% work for myself. I'm an independent contractor doing the exact same work that I always loved. It was just, he was trying to mold me and shape me and put it into a different way that would actually be successful for me and that it was actually going to be super beneficial. So I had to learn that those circumstances and those situations continued to happen, and they would continue to happen until I actually listened to what God was actually trying to tell me. For me also, it can be different signs that I see. If I see something over and over, everyone has, and not say everybody, I have my own signs where I'm like, if I see a certain animal or I see something that, I know that's when God's kind of speaking to me. It might actually be the animal. It might be an image. It might be on a TV show or whatever it might be. I know that God is like giving me a confirmation like, hey, you're on the right track. Hey, and it's usually I'll see it when I'm thinking about something and I'm kind of asking questions, or I'm going around and around in a circle about something in my mind, and then I'll see this image and I'm like, oh, okay, I have peace about it. Like I have that where I don't have to continue to like go over it in my head or ruminate over it anymore. For me, it's always noticing like what is a sign and asking God and being very specific about it and knowing when it's your sign versus somebody else's sign that's for somebody else. Because that's also another thing too. Don't be taking other people's signs. Get your sign directly from God. The fourth thing, I really hope we're on number 4, is the fourth thing is actually going to be that inner peace or that inner knowing. So now out of all the things that I said, when I said through other people, through coincidences, through nature, reading your Bible, whatever it may be, all the things that I shared, you have to have peace about it, no matter what. If you don't have peace about it, whatever you feel like you heard from God, so if God's telling you, hey, leave this job, leave this relationship, whatever it may be, if you don't have peace about it, if you're still kind of like, oh, I'm not quite sure, you will know. And also sometimes we can convince ourselves to stay in things where it's like, oh, I need to be in this relationship. Oh, I need to stay in this career, or I need to stay at this specific job, when God's really telling you you need to leave, right? So you need to be and know when you have that inner peace. And sometimes that inner peace doesn't always make sense to you. It just is a feeling that comes over you where you're just like, okay, God, I trust you. Like I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know, but something about this just feels right. I don't move until I feel that feeling in my entire bones. I used to move before. I would get an idea, hear something, and instantly I would start moving. But now I will wait until I feel total peace about something. And I want to be so clear about this is that I said inner peace, not other people's peace. So sometimes, and a lot of times, you don't have to explain it to anybody else if you don't have peace about something. Because, like I said, sometimes you might not even know why you don't have peace about it, but God does. God knows why He hasn't given you peace about a certain situation. And so trusting that. And so until you have that, just that inner peace, that inner knowing of like, okay, yeah, yep, this is what I'm supposed to do. Or I'm having this conversation with somebody and I feel like I'm trying to make it work and push it through, but something about it just doesn't feel right. That does not mean you have inner peace about it. There's actually a scripture in Philippians about how God actually gives us that inner peace. So it goes a little bit like this. Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. I want you to remember that, like, the devil, the enemy, whatever you want to call it, he does not give you peace when he's speaking to you or trying to tell you things. He is the author of lies and not truth, okay? So a lot of times you will not feel, you'll feel that anxiety, you'll feel that worry, you'll feel that fear, you'll feel all those things when you're making a decision that you know is not of God. Because sometimes you'll be doing something, you're just like, oh, I feel like I'm going to regret this, or, I'm not quite sure. Like that feeling right there, that's the thing. Like God will give you His peace, even if you are afraid, even if you do have a little bit of fear and you have a little bit of that feeling. That's normal, especially if you're doing something new, you've never done it before. But there's a difference between having fear because it's like, I don't know what to expect, it's the unknown and things of that nature, versus having fear and just knowing that God still told you to do it. Like, I'll take this YouTube channel. I've tried YouTube over and over and over again multiple times, but God this time has been like, I need you to stay consistent for a year, this and this and that. And He's giving me all these different things. I am terrified because I'm like, what if I don't show up? What if I'm not consistent like I did in the past? But He's like, shh, quiet, quiet, quiet. Just trust. And I just have so much inner peace about it this time around because I'm in a totally different space than I was before. I'm so focused on like, and I know who my audience is, who I'm supposed to speak to, and all those different things, which I didn't know before. I was coming so much from the flesh and just sharing things from just, I don't know what place it was coming from. But now I go to God first and I ask Him, okay, what do you want me to share to people? Because this isn't for me. This is for His words to come through and speak to whoever needs to hear these messages. That is just another big thing that I want you to just be aware about, is that, the enemy will not give you peace about something. And I just have so much peace about it. And I'm like, okay, God, whatever you want, let's do it. Let's go. I'm ready. Like I said in the beginning, which I kind of skipped ahead, is that God, first of all, I shared a few different ways. There's so many other ways that God can speak to you. I just want to be so clear on that. And that's why I said, make sure you comment down below the different ways that you feel like you've heard God and you know that it's God. And, when you know that it's God and you make a move, sometimes you have to make a move and fail and be like, oh, actually, that wasn't God. Like, you have to test it out and figure out in order to get more discernment on when you're hearing from God, and not, especially if you're a new believer and this is not something that you have built that muscle and built that connection, that relationship with Him. It's going to be a lot of trial and error in the beginning. It just is. And so you have to give yourself that grace and knowing that, like, I'm not sure I've heard from God. I'm not 100% sure. And like I said, knowing that, like, all the ways that I just listed, he might not even speak to you in any of those ways. That might not be the avenue. And so being open and wanting to identify what that is for you. And that's why I said, let's comment down below the different ways that God has spoken to us so other people can see, oh, okay, that's a way, that's a way. So then you just are more open to receiving, God in different ways. I also just want to share that I think a lot about the story of Gideon in the book of Judges and how Gideon had asked God for, what was it, like 3 different signs? Like the first time when he was like tearing down his father's idol statue, he was like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm only going to do it at night. When God was like, no, go do it like right now. When he's like, I'm going to do it at night, I'm not 100% sure. And then after that, when he told him to go and, attack the other place and things of that nature, he's like, I'm not sure if that's you. He's like, please give me a sign. And he asked him for 2 different signs to confirm, 2 different confirmations to confirm that he was speaking to God. And God gave him those confirmations. So that, out of everything that I've shared, if you take anything away from this video today, I just want you to know that God will give you confirmation if you are not sure. So wait for that confirmation. Wait for that inner peace and wait for the confirmation. If you need a confirmation 1, 2, 3 times, if you keep asking for confirmations after like umpteenth time, God's gonna be like, okay, nope, next, on to the next person, because this person's not listening. And at this point, they're now allowing fear to stop them in their tracks. But sometimes all you need is that 3rd confirmation, whatever it may be, but that's okay. Go and read the book of Judges where Gideon asked God, like, do it this way. I want the mat to be dry in the morning. And he's like, okay, you did that, but now can you make it wet? Like, he just made sure that like he knew for sure. And once he got that confirmation, he went and he fulfilled the thing that God had told him to do. And so that is okay to ask God for confirmation to make sure. I would highly, highly encourage you to do so before you continue to make steps, do things that God's like, I never told you to do that, right? And sometimes that confirmation might take some time. And until you receive that confirmation, don't move, because God could be doing things, moving things, making ways, making things possible for when it is your time to move, that everything just blends together, that everything is just so orchestrated and so beautiful, exactly how it's supposed to be. I do want to add though, is big warning, do not take confirmation from social media. That algorithm is no joke. If you go out looking for things, if you are trying to manipulate a confirmation, that is not from God. You have to seek those confirmations out from the things of this world in real life, like your best friend or a stranger coming and talking to you about something that you didn't tell them about, but somehow they knew about it, or reading the word and something steps or pulls out on the pages to you and you're like, oh my God, that's exactly the current situation that I'm going in. That's a word or a message for me. Why I say that is because if you start looking things out, I'll use me for example, like I was looking up, not being on social media and blah, 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 stuff like that. And then before I knew it, I'm just seeing all these videos of other people of how they've taken social media breaks, how they're not on Instagram, this and this and this and this and that. God had already given me peace about that a while ago. I knew that he kind of wanted me to step away from that area and really pour my energy and attention here onto YouTube. And so, but if I wasn't sure, the algorithm was just sending that to me over and over and over again. So it wasn't quite like confirmation, because it was like orchestrated and like man-made and like sent to me. So you might be looking at stuff like, should I leave my man, or whatever it may be, right? If you look that up once, the algorithm is just going to keep on sending you things like that. And that is going to be putting things into your brain saying, oh, that's God's confirmation. But if you don't really have peace about it, then it's not coming from God. Does that make sense? So I just want to be, that just came up in my spirit. I feel like I needed to share that with somebody out there who's going to start looking at stuff and be like, oh, I got that confirmation. It's like, did you really though? Right? Or is it just the way the algorithm is set up that you're getting that confirmation? So something to really, really think about and consider. Hopefully this video helped and gave you some encouragement on the different ways that God can speak to you. If this resonated with you, be sure to make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to see more videos like this. And definitely feel free to leave a comment down below if there's anything in particular that you want to see from me. Otherwise, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.